Hi, and welcome to Lightfully's virtual open house for our new adolescent PHP IOP here in the Westwood neighborhood of Los Angeles, California. This is Lightfully's second adolescent program this year and our 9th overall, including both adult and adolescent programming. At Lightfully, we seek to provide clearly superior mental health care so that you can live brighter. We have a straightforward and well-defined treatment framework that integrates both family and clients' strengths and values, not just focusing on their problems and struggles. We have an exceptionally equipped and empowered staff and a commitment to utilizing measurable results in our work with our clients. In addition to that, we have a robust family program and coaching and support for when clients are ready to transition home. Now, you're going to hear more about that with our time here today. But to kick us off, I would love to introduce you to our CEO, Jennifer Steiner.
Good morning, everyone. I'm so happy to see you all virtually. We launched Lightfully Behavioral Health in early 2022, and we did that in response to the exploding mental health crisis in the United States. The need for mental health services is the most pronounced among our country's adolescents. Societal trends and COVID have wreaked havoc on the young people in our country. The rates and acuity of adolescent mental health conditions have increased at rates even higher than we've seen in adults. So Lightfully was founded to be a solution to this mental health crisis. Specifically, Lightfully was founded to provide mental health treatment for people struggling with depression, anxiety, trauma, and personality disorders. Our company is focused on what we call middle acuity mental health conditions. I call it the space in between inpatient psychiatric care and fee-for-service outpatient therapy. There's a whole world of need between those two extremes. Unlike other mental health providers who specialize in substance abuse treatment, eating disorder treatment, or co-occurring conditions, Lightfully is focused on doing one thing extremely well. We are the only mental health provider of scale that is focusing solely on general mental health disorders for middle acuity clients. And in order to ensure that our care is industry leading, we've developed a clinical model framework rooted in process-based therapy. Simply put, process-based therapy has identified 12 key interventions, boiled down from the hundreds of treatment modalities, and targeted them methodically to client symptom presentation. This allows us to be effective, consistent, and data-driven in the care that we provide across all Lightfully locations. So since March of 2022, we've opened 8 Lightfully programs in Los Angeles, Conejo Valley, and Greater San Diego, as well as a virtual IOP serving all of California. Today, we are celebrating the opening of our 9th program, which is our very first adolescent PHP IOP, as Andy said, located in the Westwood area of Los Angeles. And of note, we opened our first adolescent residential program located in the northern San Diego County just recently. Lightfully's growth is fueled by our desire to be the solution to the urgent need to provide excellent clinical care for those who are struggling with mental health challenges. So now I'm really excited to introduce you to our program leaders, Angel Rodriguez, who is our Director of Clinical Services, and Marisol Garcia, our Program Manager.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name is Angel Rodriguez. I'm the Clinical Director of Operations here at Lightfully Behavioral Health for the Adolescent PHP IOP program. We're located on Santa Monica Boulevard, not too far from Westwood Avenue. There's a lot of great food options here. So we're in a great location. I'll introduce my partner here, Marisol.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. Again, my name is Marisol Garcia, and I'm the program manager here at our adolescent PHP IOP facility. I'm very excited for everybody to get to see what our space looks like. It looks amazing. So please enjoy a quick video of our space and our facility. real. So now I'm going to go ahead and hand it off to Megan Ledet. She is our Vice President of Adolescent Services.
Hi, everyone. It's so good to see everyone virtually. I am thrilled to introduce our clinical model to you all and share a little bit more about what makes our program truly special and truly unique for our adolescent population. Jennifer mentioned this earlier, but I think it bears repeating that our adolescent population is seeing a mental health crisis that we have not experienced in our lifetime. This past week alone, I have seen multiple articles come out from various news sources that are really highlighting terrifying statistics about the state of our collective adolescents' mental health. Depression, anxiety, suicidality, and intentional self-harm are skyrocketing, as well as rates of completed suicide in some populations of adolescents have tripled in recent years. So we're coming out of this post-COVID age and really seeing such a need for our adolescents, not only to be treated, but to be treated compassionately and effectively. And that's where Lightfully comes in. I'm thrilled that Jennifer and the rest of the team that created Lightfully said our adolescents need something special and unique. So experts like myself and others were brought on board to develop and then implement in our programs a groundbreaking, a programmatic method to make sure that our adolescents are treated compassionately and treated as more than their diagnosis. That's one of our key beliefs at Lightfully, is that our clients are not problems to be solved. And that goes directly into the framework that we've developed called process-based therapy, which Jennifer mentioned as well, or PBT. And PBT is the type of therapy that we all want to practice. As a clinician myself, I would describe myself as eclectic or integrated, and yet there's not a specific framework in which we can say, this is the way that I am eclectic or integrated. And that's what PBT does. It uses integrated, methodical techniques that are evidence-based, and we integrate all of those together to formulate a treatment plan that is unique to each individual. So all of the alphabet soup of therapies, DBT, CBT, ACT, they can all play a part in a PBT framework, but yet we're using data-driven reads on clients, using assessments, as well as practicing with our cohort of peers among therapists and clinical directors to see in real time what's working, what isn't, and be able to make shifts to other interventions that will be the most effective for each individual client. It's really, really exciting. One of the ways that we're integrating adolescent-specific interventions is with the use of DNAV. That is a new type of therapy specifically targeted for adolescents, and it stands for Discoverer, Noticer, Advisor, and Values. And that's an adolescent way of saying behaviors, thoughts, emotions, and values. What I love about it is that it simplifies this therapeutic language and it demystifies the therapeutic process so that our adolescents feel connected and committed to the treatment that we're providing. One other component of our adolescent programs that is truly special and unique is our family program. Caroline Nichols is the National Director of Family and Support Services, and she's going to speak more to that.
Sorry. Thank you, Megan, and good morning, everyone. We are so excited to be with you guys today, and I am even more excited to speak to you about how we serve and support the families of our adolescent clients. Of utmost importance, what I want everyone to hear is that at Lightfully, we truly, truly believe in the healing power of families. We have great understanding that mental health disorders have a huge impact on family systems. And we believe without a shadow of a doubt that families do not cause mental health disorders. We have so much compassion for the families that we serve and understand that parents are truly doing the best they can with the resources and information that they have available to them. We hold compassionate space and understand that many of the families we serve are coming to us tired, anxious, scared, or even terrified. And in many cases are experiencing their own self-blame and shame related to the development or exacerbation of their child's mental health disorder. We know that family involvement in the treatment of adolescents with mental health disorders is critical to long-term healing and success. And so we invite families to be involved in their adolescents treatment, starting from the day of admission and continuing through their stay with us and even after. I'll talk about that in just a minute. So at our PHP IOP location, primary caregivers will participate in weekly family therapy sessions with their adolescent. Whenever possible, we are always going to aim to facilitate family therapy sessions in person, but we can accommodate virtual sessions if the family experiences barriers to being on site on a weekly basis. In addition to weekly family sessions, we also offer a weekly virtual multi-family process group facilitated by our Director of Clinical Operations. So for this program, our lovely Angel, who you guys met earlier, will be facilitating this group. These groups are specific. They occur at all of our adolescent locations, but they are specific to each program and level of care to ensure that we are providing the most effective support to the caregivers that we're working with. This group is specific to primary caregivers of current adolescent clients. So our actual clients are not in this group. It is just for families only. And the focus is to provide families a place to find support and community while also providing them a safe, non-judgmental space to process the challenges that can arise in supporting an adolescent with a mental health disorder. In addition to these two offerings, we have a third weekly offering. This is for family members, primary caregivers, but also secondary caregivers, as long as they're over the age of 18, are going to be invited to attend a weekly support/skills group that I facilitate. I believe this group's on Wednesdays. This group is focused on emotion coaching skills using an emotion-focused family therapy or EFFT framework. So really this group, we're going to be challenging families and caregivers to really examine their response in the face of their adolescent's distress or their adolescent's resistance to support, while also providing a skill set for families to use or parents to use if they feel that their current way of responding isn't as effective as they would like it to be. The underlying goal of this group is to provide caregivers with very specific skills that they can utilize in their support of their adolescent, which organically creates an increase in caregiver empowerment and self-efficacy, which is such an important thing as we're sending our adolescents home to their families. So really what we're wanting to do throughout all of the offerings that we provide is really encourage and support families to do different. Not more, because that can feel incredibly overwhelming, but just respond differently or do differently if what they're doing right now doesn't feel terribly effective. With this weekly support/skills group that I facilitate, families are invited to participate in this group starting at their adolescent's admission, and they can continue to participate even after their adolescent has discharged from Lightfully programming. We are so excited to work with your adolescent clients and their families. And now I want to introduce you all to Rebecca Wolfslau, Lightfully's clearance clinician.
Hi, everyone. So good to see you all virtually. I'm Rebecca Wolfslau. I'm a licensed professional counselor and the clearance clinician for the admissions department at Lightfully. So one of the things that we do in the admissions department is definitely making sure that everything is quick and thorough for our adolescents and our families. So I'm looking at every single assessment for diagnostic impressions, as well as level of care recommendations. So one thing that I do want to say, and it's been said earlier in the live as well, is that at Lightfully, we really don't believe that clients are their symptoms or their diagnosis. However, in the admissions department, we're going to use it to advocate for our adolescents. So the Lightfully adolescent client that you're going to see is struggling with anxiety, depression, panic attacks, trauma, OCD. They could also be struggling with psychosis related to mood, so bipolar, depression, psychosis related to OCD. We are definitely open to conversations around that. The times that we're going to provide referrals are anyone or an adolescent that falls on the schizophrenia spectrum scale, true psychotic disorders, or conduct disorders. This also goes for primary substance use. I'm so sorry, I have to take a drink real quick. And primary eating disorders. However, we can work with all of those co-occurring as well. And now I'm going to hand it back to Andy Hollowell for some question and answers.
Hi, thank you so much, Rebecca, for walking us through what our clearance process looks like for adolescents. I've got some questions that have been coming in from those of you that have joined us today. So let me just pull some of those up for the group. And let's see. Okay, perfect. So this first one, Caroline, I'm going to send it to you because it's about families.
Wonderful.
We have someone asking, how do you define a primary caregiver? Like, who gets to be involved in the family treatment?
Absolutely.
We know that families look like different things these days, so please help us understand what that looks like here.
Yes, absolutely. That's a wonderful question. We always hope that our adolescents have tons of support. And we really want to focus on what we can do and do really well. And so the way we have defined primary caregivers are going to be those adult caregivers. So it might be a parent, be a grandparent, or another family member. But these are the adults that are tasked with caring for this adolescent most of the time. Most likely, this adolescent is going to be living at home with the primary caregiver. There are cases in which the primary caregivers might be parents who are divorced and not living in the same home. But we want those primary caregivers, those adult caregivers, those are going to be the folks that are going to be participating in the weekly family therapy sessions. And so those folks will be the ones that will be invited to attend the multifamily process group. And the weekly skills group. In addition to the weekly skills group, we can also bring in, grandparents, aunts and uncles, good family friends, like whomever else is going to be really supporting the family or supporting that adolescent. So, yeah.
Great. Well, there was one other one for families, so I'm going to keep with you for a second here. What happens if the family doesn't want to or can't attend the weekly group sessions? What does that look like?
Of course. So I think I mentioned this, but the groups, the family sessions are for lack of a better descriptor, a mandatory part of our programming. The groups are strongly encouraged, but not mandatory. We're always going to be encouraging our therapists and our staff to really explore any barriers that the family is reporting and being able to attend groups. All the group offerings are virtual, so we've tried to make it as easy as possible for folks to be able to participate. But if they are reporting barriers, we really want to get creative around that and really explore that, and then really validate any fears or anxieties related to attending groups. My experience has been that it can be very scary, just like it's very scary for our clients to enter into a new therapeutic space, maybe even for the first time, that a lot of our families have not had the experience of being in a therapeutic type group and being asked to be vulnerable in that way. And so we really want to validate that as normal and then continue to encourage them to participate. If needed, I am always more than happy to reach out to family members to provide more information or just introduce myself as hopefully a friendly face to alleviate some of the unknowns of attending a group for the first time. So, yeah.
Awesome. Super helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Megan, I'm going to go to you for this next one. You gave us such a beautiful summary and overview of PBT, how we utilize that framework here at Lightfully. I know that this is certainly not a novel framework, and it incorporates, as you mentioned, so many of all of the modalities and elements and it integrates all of these things that those of us that are therapists, we all know very, very well. But as a framework, if someone wanted to learn more about how we apply it or about PBT in general, where would they go to learn more about PBT?
Sure. That's such a great question, because that novel approach is something that people are just starting to learn about. And there are some great books that I can't recommend highly enough. If you're looking for a PBT plus adolescent book, then the book called The Thriving Adolescent is a wonderful book. It's by Louise Hayes and Joseph Karachi. If I'm pronouncing his name wrong, I'm so sorry. And if you're on this call, Joseph, I'm sorry. But that would be a great book to utilize. And our therapists are trained in this through a praxis course that they teach. And that would be another excellent resource if you're looking to invest some time and energy. For a more general overview, Stephen Hayes has two books that would be fabulous reads. One's called Beyond the DSM, and then the other is called Process-Based CBT. The name of that is a little bit confusing, but it is something that is process-based therapy driven. So those would be my recommendations.
Love that. Okay, so the next couple questions seem to be a little bit more logistic. So I'm going to ask Marisol and Angel that are here with me now a couple of these. So first, how many clients can we actually accommodate here at our PHP IOP in Los Angeles?
So we're going to max out at 20 clients.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And in between both programs, we're going to max out at 20 clients.
Okay, so that's a mixture of both PHP and IOP clients. Nice. And what would an average day for a client that attends this program look like?
Well, the average day for an IOP client will look like 3 groups in an individual session a day, at least 3 groups. And for a PHP client, it'll look anywhere from 3 to 5 groups a day with an individual session, and then with the weekly family sessions included in our groups we got yoga group, we got a values group, and I was personally working on group content, and so I think as a team we came up with some really group content to teach these kids in basic, simple terms, these skills that as adults we learned.
Yeah, that's great. It sounds very robust and like they're getting a little bit of everything as well. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that. Rebecca, I had a question here that seems mostly related to the assessment process. So I'm just wondering, Does the adolescent need to be involved in the assessment process, or what does that look like?
Yeah, definitely. So as much as possible, we want the adolescent involved in the assessment process. We definitely want to hear right from them and hear not only what they feel like they're struggling with, but also what their strengths are too, so that we can start to already build and pull in those values. And we also want the primary caregivers or the support of others involved when possible too. So during the assessment process, you're going to hear or see us asking the adolescent directly the questions. And if the adolescent really feels overwhelmed or might struggle to remember things from the past, we might pull in the supportive other or the primary caregiver. Towards the end of the assessment, we also try to give space to both the adolescent and the primary caregiver or supportive other to speak to us alone if they would like to. We offer that space, just really making sure that we can capture everything needed to be able to advocate for the adolescent. So we do provide that opportunity as well. But, circling back to the main question, we want the adolescent involved to the best of their capacity and as much as possible so that we can really start to learn who they are as an individual and advocate for them through, insurance or level of care recommendations.
Great. Another question here, and I think this kind of speaks to what does the Lightfully adolescent client look like? So I'm going to stay with you for a minute, Rebecca. Can we here at Lightfully support an adolescent with a co-occurring condition? So maybe an eating disorder and some of those symptoms. What does that look like?
Yeah, definitely. So kind of what I spoke to earlier is the diagnosis is definitely going to be like primary mental health. However, we are equipped and able to work with co-occurring diagnoses as well. So that could be an eating disorder, that could be substance use. Of course, we want all of our clients, whether it be adolescents or adults, to be in the right treatment center. So if the eating disorder or substance use is primary, then we are going to make sure that we have referrals in our back pocket that best fit for the client. That's incredibly important to us at Lightfully. However, if it is a primary mental health diagnosis and there are some symptoms within an eating disorder or substance use, we're going to work with that in treatment with the adolescent too. And specifically with eating disorders, that could be, working with a nutritionist or having maybe an outside provider or dietitian that can work alongside them. And another really important thing at Lightfully is making sure that they get, the best and most appropriate care. So if medically they need to be somewhere else, then again, we're going to provide those referrals. But if it's co-occurring, then we have providers, whether it be through us or outside, that we can definitely connect with, work with to make sure that the adolescent's getting the best care possible and addressing all of the things that they feel like they're struggling with at this time.
Great. You mentioned other outpatient providers, which is a great segue. This next question, I'm certain this is an outpatient provider sending this in. Megan, maybe you can answer this next one. How do we work with outpatient providers when a client is here in our care at Lightfully?
That's a great question. And we want our outpatient providers to be a part of this process. We talked about involving the family and how key of a component the families are. Our outpatient providers are such an important piece to their journey at Lightfully. So we will directly communicate with outpatient providers within 72 hours of that client coming into any facility, whether it's our residential facility or a PHP IOP, because we need to hear from you guys too about the ways that this client has been presenting. And we want to bring you into the fold as a member of our team. You'll receive updates as our client progresses through treatment and really be an ally with our treatment team, so that when that client returns back to you, when they're finished at Lightfully, you feel like you have not missed one step along the way and you're ready to pick back up with them and continue to build on the work that they've done.
Love that. How long do you anticipate, Megan, a client would be here in our care? Like, what is our typical length of stay for a client?
Mhm. What we're envisioning is about a 30-day length of stay at any of our levels of care. For our PHP IOP, that looks to be anywhere from 5 to 7 weeks. Obviously, that's going to vary depending on the client's individual needs. And as a kind of general average, that's what we're anticipating people to expect.
That's great. Well, I know that those of you that are joining us are obviously giving us a lot of your time today, and we are so grateful for everybody joining us here today at Lightfully. As I mentioned before, as I'm wrapping things up, we are sitting here in our new adolescent PHP IOP in Westwood in the Los Angeles neighborhood of in California here. With that, with this opening, we actually will have all levels of care open for our adolescent clients. We have our residential down in Carlsbad, and then this PHP IOP here in Los Angeles, in addition to our other adult programs, all levels of care as well. As we wrap things up, I just want to remind all of you that we want to be a part of this healing community, and we want to be the best resource that we can be. And so if you have additional questions, whether it be about a client, a family member, yourself, a loved one, I would just encourage you to reach out to us at our admissions line. It was at the top screen as we got started, and I believe it will be shown as we wrap things up here. But you can always come and meet us at www.lightfully.com. Our wonderful admissions counselors are happy and willing to answer any and all questions that you might have. And we look forward to being a part of your healing journey here at Lightfully, where we work to change lives compassionately. And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.